you read the AI 27 paper?
I have.
And so for those listeners who haven't read it, it's a future vision of the AI in US and China racing towards AI. And at some point, the story splits into a slow down and work in alignment, or going full out. And spoiler alert: race to infinity, humanity vanishes.
That is an extremely dystopian future that I do not want to be a part of. I'm sorry. Why are we repeating the same idiotic ideology that we had with nuclear weapons? We're just going to destroy each other? That's my first take. And
the way he's accepting, and this is not coming from any random person, this is coming from such person who has been involved in all of this, and he's very sure about like this dystopian future, like this is happening. And
yeah, it's just a few people at the top, right? It's a few people in America, a few people in China who now dictate what the 8 billion people.
What is it? This is next year or like a couple years after this? But this is something that we ought to be like really thinking about, like how are we allowing all of this? There's just two powers who will have all the power, all the sovereignty, and they're going to decide what happens with AI.
So the right outcome will ultimately be some form of deterrence and mutually assured destruction. I wrote a paper with two other authors, Dan Hendricks and Alex Wang, where we named it Mutual AI Malfunction. And the idea was, go something like this. You're the United States, I'm China, you're ahead of me. At some point you cross a line. You either cross a line and I, China, go, this is unacceptable. At some point it becomes
the amount of compute and amount of...
It's something you're doing where it affects my sovereignty. It's not just words and yelling and an occasional shooting down a jet. It's a real threat to the identity of my country, my economic, what have you. Under this scenario, I would be highly tempted to do a cyber attack to slow you down, okay? In mutually assured malfunction, if you will, we have to engineer it so that you have the ability to then do the same thing to me. And that causes both of us to be careful not to trigger the other. That's what mutually assured destruction is. That's our best formulation right now.
That is an extremely dystopian future that I do not want to be a part of. I'm sorry. But for us to just revert back to the same dumb ideology of mutually assured destruction, especially, well, the other thing that's different is that it's not taking into account the third party that's involved. They talk about China and the US. What about the AI? The AI is going to have a say in this. It's not going to have an ideological belief, which, nuclear weapons required someone to push the button, required humans to make the nuclear weapons. In the AI world, AI can determine when to push the button. AI can make more AIs. It's a that is very, very scary thinking. I'm sorry.
And just think about like what the specific scenario means for enterprises. Let's say you are building your entire AI strategy on an infrastructure that in future governments will use as maybe strategic military access. So when he like talked about knowing where all the chips are.
Silicon Valley, because we would be in a war of technological supremacy. Well, where are you going to take out the most technological supreme, as of today?
We also recommend in our work, and I think it's very strong, that the government require that we know where all the chips are. And remember, the chips can tell you where they are because they're computers. Yeah. And it would be easy to add a little crypto thing to say, yeah, here I am, this is what I'm doing. So knowing where the chips are, knowing where the training runs are, and knowing what these fault lines are very important.
Tracking them through the computer chips?
Scary.
For your safety? Yeah.
Like a direct attack to our privacy, also the competition.
Yeah, it's a direct attack on privacy, our own personal sovereignty. I mean, it's just, wow. And it's just... to sit back, I mean, that when he said tracking all of the chips, they know where they're at, that is a very, very dystopian comment. And I can't believe, of course, he built his entire career